Yo, what's up? What is good?
Hey, everybody.
We're live.
Welcome
of course,
to-
we're live.
We're live. Doing it live.
I'm gonna do
Doing
this.
it live.
I'm gonna do this. If you're watching live, make sure you pop through, comment, say hey, say what's up.
Yeah, let us know how you're doing. This is your Sunday live Heretic Happy Hour. You know, you're not at church, so pour yourself
You
a
might
drink.
be at church. You might be at church with your phone down like this.
That's right. That'd be hilarious. Yeah, the pastor's trying to preach, and you're sitting there with your phone listening.
You got your little earbuds in.
Yeah.
If you're at church doing that and he says something out of pocket, you let us know.
Actually, if you're at church doing that, please leave a comment and let us know, because that would be hilarious. Hello, Doa Deer from Idaho.
Yeah, and if you're listening, I'm going to say this for the people in the future. If you're listening on the podcast itself, make sure you understand that every Sunday, Keith or myself, or Keith and myself, or just Keith, one of us will be here as your resident pastor every Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific time on the Choircast YouTube channel and in the Heresy After Hours Facebook group.
That's right.
Or on our personal pages.
Yeah, personal pages as well. My you can also watch my Instagram.
You could do all that. So make sure you come through. Save a spot for us every now and then on Sunday. Come hang out with us. Donna says hi from Delaware. What's going on? We've got Idaho. We've got Delaware. Sound off. Where are you from right now? If you're out of the U.S., let
West
us know.
Coast, East Coast, represent.
All right. All right.
Texas, California, Idaho, Delaware.
Katie McCreate, what's going on?
It's McCrite, I think, actually.
McCrite. Well, you know, no one said I pronounce everything correctly.
Yeah, look, she says pronounced McWright.
McWright. Ah, you're McWright as opposed to McWrong.
We do publish your books, by the way. Well, we're going to.
You know
we
what?
have a book coming out. We haven't done it yet, but we have a book coming out.
You know what? Lay off, buddy.
It's okay. You know what? Because we mainly communicate by email.
You know what? Friends of mine that I consider dear friends still say Di Stefano. And at this point, I'm not going to correct them.
Yeah. And some people say Giles instead of Giles. Yeah.
It's all right. Nothing but love. No disrespect. I'll get it McWright the next time.
You'll get it McWright the next time. Well, go back. I want to read her comment. What did she say?
Oh, my bad.
She said,
greetings and salutations to wise and impudent friends from Katie McWright, an old and tired relic of evangelical righteousness and personal confusion. That's the epitome of evangelicalism, is confusion.
Yes.
Blessings upon you, and later today may you find a Sunday afternoon rest for your body and soul, known in my family of long ago as a Nazarene nap. First Thessalonians 1:1. All right. Well, now I got some farming to do later.
Yeah.
Elaine Luther says this is the first live event. Hey, what's up?
Hey, Elaine.
Monty Montgomery, hello from the Buckle of the Bible Belt, Abilene, Texas. All right.
Abilene,
I can fly.
Prettiest town that I've ever seen.
Donna Lee says she's from the town where Richard Jacobson's from.
Yes, Richard Jacobson.
All right.
I know him. Good friend of mine. He lives now in Nashville.
All right. Everyone lives in Nashville these days, man.
I know. I would like to, but I can't convince Wendy to go there. But
well,
I like
El Paso for you then.
Well, we're trying to get out of El Paso as well. We just don't know where we're going to go. And I mean, we were thinking about possibly going to, because our youngest is in Portland and he's trying to get us to move up there. We visited there a couple of years ago, like maybe 2-3 years ago, just to look around and see if it didn't grab us. Neither one of us were like, yeah, this is where we want to live next. But as things have changed, there's also the chance then seriously, this is a selling point for Portland, is that Canada has talked about making Oregon, Washington, and California part of Canada. And
So have the
I would
Danes. The Danes said they
That's
were gonna
right.
come buy Cali.
You know what?
It's
So
like,
that would make it worth moving there, just so
I
that
guess we would just
that's
get
the
free
easiest
healthcare.
way. Yeah, the easiest way to move to Canada would be just to move to Portland and then wait for Canada to take over Portland.
I'd be cool with that. Hey, the Viking of hard cheese has a very important question for us. Matthew, I'm gonna buy a book from you as well. Any recommendations? All right,
Which
well,
one?
what do you want? I go with Heretic if you like
Yep.
that kind of stuff, theology. If you
Yeah,
like Tolkien, then go with The Wisdom of Hobbits,
that's right.
or go with both. Shit.
Or you have two. You have Heretic and Heretic 2, and then you've got the Wisdom of Hobbits, and you have
And Mimetic
um
Theory in Middle Earth.
the Medic Theory of Middle Earth. That's right.
So, yeah. Do you wanna go heavy in the theology? We'll go with Heretic 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Just search "heretic!" and then put in my last name, DiStefano, and you'll find it.
DiStefano. Yes.
DiStefano.
See, if you keep mispronouncing it, then they're going to mispronounce it as well. Oh,
Well,
you
the
see,
Viking's
this is
a huge
huge.
fan of Lord of the Rings. Well, there you go.
Well,
Just look up The Wisdom of Hobbits, and you'll find it on Amazon or wherever.
yeah, it's a good
Or
book.
Mimetic Theory in Middle Earth. Yeah,
Yeah, get them both. You're
get
going
them
to read them
both.
both
They
anyway.
go
Just pick them
together.
up both. Get both of them.
Yeah. You know
Good
what's
stuff.
crazy? Let's talk about this real quick. JD Vance is a huge Lord of the Rings fan.
Oh, you know what?
Square that one for me.
I think I sent you because
You
somebody
did.
sent this to me. I had forgotten about this. I was gonna say something about it in my newsletter. I just put up my Patreon newsletter this week, and I forgot to put this in there. You just reminded me. Somebody sent me something, and I saw this article about Rene Girard and Peter Thiel.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter Thiel is the billionaire guy that sort of bankrolled JD Vance.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I went down that rabbit hole, because actually I had seen a documentary, and for some reason they interviewed Peter Thiel in a documentary about Rene Girard. And I was like, oh, that was a shock. What the hell is he doing there?
Yeah.
And then I went down the rabbit hole and realized, like, oh, a bunch of these people have taken, like nationalists, right, have taken Rene Girard and completely twisted it around. I'm like, dude, I got to write a blog about this. This is insane. And you knew about it, right? 'Cause I was oblivious. I was just like,
Yeah,
what the hell?
Peter Thiel's been a devotee of Girard for a long time. And it's just one of those instances where you could take any philosophy and you could run with it in any direction you want. It's like you could take the Bible and make it to say whatever you want.
Is
Just like
this
JD
like,
Vance can read Tolkien and be JD Vance. Like, it doesn't make sense to
yeah.
me.
Is this like Metaxas misunderstanding Bonhoeffer?
I would say
Yeah.
I mean, I think what they take is like they use the scapegoating mechanism and things like that, and to say, oh, well, that's all Donald Trump is he's a failed scapegoat and this and that. And
Yeah.
there
They're
could be some of
misapplying.
that, but
Yeah.
that's so reductive of an answer that
Yeah.
this is the fair accusation that mimetic theory, people say it's like, oh, it's a theory of everything. You try to make it explain everything, and it just doesn't. And it's like it's like seeing everything as a nail, and so you just hammer everything to death.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what they've done. Yeah, that's what Metaxas did with Bonhoeffer. That's what Thiel does with Girard, and Vance does with Girard, and that's what I think Vance does with Tolkien. There's been accusations that was Tolkien an advocate for like fascism and
No, I'd seen
racism,
that. Yeah. Yeah.
and it's like, no, racists and fascists use all of literature when advantageous to them. And it
Right.
doesn't, like, just like they wield the Bible to do that, and just like black folks see liberation theology in the Bible, you have
Yeah.
two mutually exclusive juxtapositioned ideologies, both coming from the same text.
Hmm.
And so it comes down to the hermeneutics of someone reading Girard, someone reading Tolkien, or someone reading the Bible, the Quran, or anything.
Yeah. Bill has a great quote here. Bill Fenstermaker. He says, some folks, parentheses, JD Vance, are severely confused about who the good/bad guys are in books and movies. Palpatine brings order to the galaxy. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you read Tolkien and think like that
Saruman had some good ideas.
yeah, like Saruman was doing, like he was just capitalist going into the
Yeah.
forest and using the trees for, to make better profits and
Yeah,
like I don't know how you read that whole all of like the Two Towers and the Fangorn Forest
he was a job
and
creator. I mean, the orcs,
yeah, a
I
lot
mean, a
the
bunch of
orcs.
jobs for
There
orcs.
was no homeless.
No
There
homeless
was
orcs.
no, everyone was employed.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
It's so stupid.
I've written 2 award-winning books on Tolkien, and I honestly do not I would love to sit down face to face with JD Vance and
Yeah.
ask him, "How the fuck do you read Tolkien and I read Tolkien, and you end up being JD Vance and I end up being Matt DiStefano?" Like,
Yeah.
I don't fucking get it, dude.
See, that would be a great interview too, right? If we could somehow get JD Vance just to talk
Just to talk
about
about Tolkien and
Lord of the
how
Rings.
that yeah, like what it
How does Lord of the Rings guide you in your career? And what parts do you really like? And what does this mean to you in Lord of the Rings? Like, see, you could do a great interview with him on that.
yeah, I could. It'd be super nerdy, but I feel like I just don't get it, like I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know if we're reading the same text or like again, like are we so do we get so indoctrinated early on that we can't help but see things that are not there? We
Yeah.
can't help but like read ourselves so deeply and like JD Vance takes all of his life and interprets J.R.R. Tolkien through his life as if Tolkien and him walked at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're making Middle Earth great again. Let's make Mordor great again. Let's rename the Gap of Rohan to the Gap of fucking like it doesn't like I don't know how you're seeing yourself as like the humble hobbit or the noble Aragorn or the wise elf. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
what the fuck are you reading, dude? Like it
Yeah.
doesn't
What
make
do you
sense.
think the Ring of Power stands for? Right? Do you
Right.
not get what that is all
And
meant?
you
Because that's a
kiss
big
that
part of the
ring. You
story.
fucking kiss that ring
Yeah, you
every
would love.
day.
Yeah, he's what Boromir going. But I could use it for good.
I could use it for good. And
Yeah.
then you become the mouth of Sauron and you start like just talking
Yeah.
your shit.
Yeah.
Like I don't
Yeah.
I don't get it, man. It's like
It's so weird.
to see him in interviews and you know that he's probably got like some collectibles from Tolkien behind him when he's
Oh
on
yeah,
a Zoom
probably.
call or some
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
He and I would have like the same background. Mine would be way more tasteful, of course, but we
Yes.
probably got the same books, the same
Yes.
fucking like, and we'd sit there and just be passionate about a piece of literature, probably one of the greatest pieces of literature,
Yeah.
and just diametrically be opposed to one another in how we interpret and how we actually use that. I'm
Yeah.
sure Tolkien has influenced him or his
Yeah.
version of Tolkien has influenced him
Yeah.
in this and I would say the same exact thing.
Yeah. So crazy.
And I'm here talking
Yeah.
about climate justice and I'm here talking about
Yeah.
like permaculture and I'm here talking about like helping the least of these and I'm
Yeah.
seeing the immigrant as your neighbor.
Yeah.
Um like Tolkien starts off The Lord of the Rings with hobbits gossiping about people from a different part of the Shire
Yeah.
and them being weird and strange
Yeah.
and they're not seen as the good guy. They're
Mm,
painted in a negative light. That's how he
yeah.
starts the fucking book.
Yeah. Is that the part in the book where they're talking about the other hobbits in the Shire and how they eat cats? They're eating the
They
cats and the
eat the
dogs.
dogs. The hobbits are eating the cats,
I
they're
think I
eating the
read that
dogs.
part. Yeah.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
over there in Frogmorton eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the
Yeah.
pets of the hobbits that live there.
Yeah. And see, that's probably how he reads it. He reads it and goes, yeah, see, that's a good idea. That's a great strategy.
Let's build a wall around the Shire.
Let's build a wall right in the middle of the Shire. Yeah. Separate hobbits from hobbits. Oh, dude, crazy. Yeah, the thing about Gerard though is like it was just so weird. I was sitting at my kitchen table and I just saw that article and I was just like, "What the hell? Like really? Like you now I kind of need to see that documentary because they're interviewing a bunch of different people about Rene Girard and they interview Peter Thiel. And even though I don't care about that guy, I'm sure, right? He's going to talk about the nuance he puts on. In fact, he probably helped to fund that documentary, come to think of it, right? He's got a bunch of money. So I'm wondering if the documentary is really accurately reflecting really what Rene Girard was doing and saying, or if he puts his spin on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a total misunderstanding of the whole thing. Like Girard's whole thing was like it's a warning about how mimetic desire creates violence, and he's trying to show us a path to peace. He's not showing us how to make better violence.
Yeah, I don't
Crazy.
know how you don't see as like. I mean, Girard would definitely have a critique of the left, but I don't know how that makes you then like MAGA.
Right.
Like, that makes no sense to me. It
Yeah.
makes no it makes no fucking sense to me. The Viking has a good question. I actually answered this in a book that I'm writing. I think Tolkien was inspired by Plato's take on a legend from Anatolia with a magic ring who can turn you invisible if memory serves.
Really?
It's to do with Luciferian arrogance as well. Yeah, there's some similarities to Plato's ring. I write about it. Excuse me. In a book I'm writing, a bunch of letters to people asking questions, and someone asked me about that question about Plato's ring, and so I wrote a letter. I forget who wrote the question. I haven't looked at that book in a
Maybe it
while.
was him. Maybe it was the Viking of Hard Cheese, his real
Maybe.
name. We don't know his real name.
We don't know the real. I do. I'd have to look it up. I've had to put that book on just a pause for a second. But yeah,
Are
I
you
answered
busy?
that question.
Kind of busy lately.
A little bit busy doing some
Yeah,
farming
same
shit.
here.
God
Yeah,
damn, running this company. I swear.
This week I had so many plans of things I was going to do this week. I was going to finish up
Forget
edits
about it.
on the Quantum Gospel of Mary. I was going to finish edits on a book we're publishing by David Agronoff. Yep, didn't do any of those things. I'm hoping this
Right. The
coming
Viking
week I'll
says it
get
wasn't
together.
him. Wasn't him.
Okay.
Or
All
them
right.
or her. I don't know. I don't know if
That's
that's a picture of them. Yeah, there's some similarities to that ring. I think there's some differences too. I get into it in the letter. So
Yeah.
that'll be out in a TBD.
TBD. Yep.
TBD.
Yeah, I'm trying to write a science fiction novel as well. I didn't have any time to work on that either. So it's hard
You're
to be
gonna
a
make
writer,
science
and
fiction great again.
I hope so. Although science fiction is already great, it doesn't need to be made great again. Hey, so we were talking before we hit record. We were just talking, and I said we got to save this for the recording. So shifting gears a little bit here, SNL has their 50th anniversary, right? SNL 50. For some reason, they're doing it on Sunday night instead of Saturday night. That makes no sense to me. Why didn't you do it on Saturday night? That would have made more sense. But instead, it's on Sunday night. Saturday Night Live on Sunday night. They're having this special. Like, I want to watch it, but there was a clip of Will Ferrell doing this character that he does, where he's like an old guy with his wife, and he's playing keyboards, and he's like taking modern songs, and then doing really cheesy Casio keyboard covers of these songs, trying to be cool and hip, talking to the kids. And by the way, that's based on a real person. I worked with a guy who went to high school with Will Ferrell, and he said at that high school there was a teacher who would do that. Who would, like, he and his wife would come out with a keyboard, and they would try to do modern songs and be hip and cool and talk to the kids. But if you haven't seen the clip, it's a clip of Will Ferrell doing that character and doing a really cheesy cover, a white old man keyboard cheesy cover of Not Like Us. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious.
Well, I've got it here if you want to watch it.
Oh, good. Let's bring it up.
See, this is the beautiful thing about live.
I see dead people. You're the only one to get your hand-me-down. Everybody at the party playing those sounds. What we're playing here around. Certified lover boy, certified pedophile. Fuck 'em. I'm gonna do myself. Why you throwing like a bitch? Ain't you tired? Try suck a chord and it's probably A minor. A minor. A minor. They not like us. They not like us.
Oh my gosh. That's what's great is to see in the video. If you're watching the video, to see the video of the people in the audience reacting, like, oh my gosh, it's just awesome.
It's pretty
That's
silly.
so great.
Yeah.
So I saw that. And I think there was another clip that they had too, and I thought, okay, I got to watch this. This looks
I
good.
watched that yesterday. Had a good
Yeah.
chuckle. Reminds me of the song that made me quit. Worship music.
That's what we're
long
talking
ago.
about. Yes. When Christians try to take secular songs and change the words to make it Christian, right? So what was the song?
Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles.
And what was wrong with that? What's wrong with doing that song?
Just figure, just say it. Just say it. Here comes the sun.
Oh, S-O-N, the Son, the
Here
Son of
comes
God,
the
right?
sun.
Here
Do-do-do-do.
comes the Son. His name is Jesus.
It was something like that.
He's gonna save you. Da 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 da
I
da da.
I was at Wednesday practice playing drums, and we were playing that, and I stopped halfway through the practice, and I said, I can't artistically do this. And we had this big talk, and I was like, I can't in good conscience as an artist do this. Like, you have to, and I quit. And I was like, you guys got to find a new drummer this week.
Yeah.
And I left them in the lurch, and they went and found a new, the other drummer.
Yeah, of course.
And I never played worship again.
That's great, dude. So I remember going to a Vineyard church, Vineyard Newport. This has been like 15 something years ago, probably, maybe more. And we were 15 to 16 years ago, something like that. And we were at a Vineyard church, and we walked in Sunday morning, and the worship, because we got there early because we were doing children's ministry. So we got there early, and the worship band was practicing "How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You, Jesus."
God,
And I was just like, really? We're doing that? You're seriously gonna? And they did it. They actually did it during worship service. I was like, dude,
we're actually doing this right now.
it's like they have there's so many great worship songs. I mean, at the time, great worship songs that Vineyard published at the time. Like, why would you need to do that? That is just so dumb. It's so cheesy. It's like when Christian musicians have to go and cover other people's songs and try to co-opt it and make it Christian. It's sort of just betraying like they're out of ideas and they don't have their own creativity. They just want to steal it and borrow it.
Unfortunately, I'm getting a notification that trouble
I'm seeing that.
streaming to Facebook. God damn.
What the hell? What are they doing now?
Let me check down detectors. Facebook. No. I guess if you're watching on Facebook, well, you're not watching on Facebook.
Yeah, sorry. I guess we dropped off. Maybe it's because we played that clip. They got mad at us.
Probably. So now you fucked up the stream.
Who did?
You did by having
What
me
did I
play
do?
that. You forced me to play it.
You're the one that played it. I just brought it up.
I thought you could play a clip and react to it.
That seems like fair use.
It is fair use.
Okay. Well,
sorry.
I don't know. Sorry, everybody.
Are you able to reconnect on Facebook?
It just says, hold on, let me see. It says edit or remove. Let me see. We'll keep trying and let you know if it's resolved.
That's a bummer. Well, I don't know. I mean, different social media platforms get really particular about what you can or cannot put up. Even if, like, our Facebook accounts are not monetized. And there's whole ass fucking YouTube like comment reaction channels. That's all they do is react to things.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that wasn't what happened. Maybe just something else weird happened. I don't know. Oh well. Well, if you are still listening, please give us a comment so we know that we're talking to somebody here.
Well, we know you're talking to people on YouTube.
YouTube and hopefully on Instagram.
Hopefully on Instagram.
Yeah.
But yeah, our Facebook feed is gone.
It's gone.
Well, I blame Project 2025.
Oh, here we go. Keith, Can I ask? Oh, you want to pull that up? The Viking of Hard Cheese is asking a question here.
Yeah, get to it.
Keith, can I ask, am I correct in thinking that universal reconciliation is still viable even if Jesus didn't specifically die for everyone's sins? Yeah, of course. Yes, of course.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm.
I don't know why.
I wonder what would it mean? What do you mean die? Like, if you really think about like what we used to think,
Yeah.
like why would die for someone's sins? Like, why does God need that?
Well, yeah,
Like,
that's the
why
whole
is
point.
that
He doesn't.
that's a weird thing when you think about it. Like,
Yeah.
like if my daughter wrongs me, I don't need vengeance.
Blood.
I don't need like a tit for tat. I don't need retribution. I don't need to be paid back.
Right.
I don't need someone to take the beating for her.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense as a dad.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's an assumption, right? And I will say that's why I wrote this book, Jesus Unforsaken, to try to make sense of this penal substitutionary atonement theory, because it's so embedded and ingrained in evangelical American Christianity. It's in such, I mean, it really is hard to make sense of like how does this make sense then if Jesus didn't die for the sins of the world? And but again, I think the easiest thing is like what we're doing is to think it through. We talked about this last time. Is God this wrathful being who is angry and full of wrath and requires blood of the virgin to forgive you? Like, well, not if we look at Jesus. Jesus didn't expect anybody nothing had to be done before he could forgive. He just forgave. And just the way, like you said, like you can do as well, like you and I. And if you're a good parent, and your child does something, you just forgive them. You don't hopefully you don't demand them to like, well, I'll forgive you, but first you're going to have to do this and that and the other. Like, no, you love them, so you forgive them. You move on. And
yeah, forgiveness often is about us too. Like I forgive people that I forgive for myself. So I don't have to be I can be free from the thing that harmed me. I don't, you know what I mean? Like
right.
if the other person accepts that or changes because of it, then great. I think everyone eventually will. Like, think about how most stubborn, most evil person, like they're only here for like 80 years at the most.
Yeah.
Like forever is a long fucking time. So to think that God could be thwarted by like 80 years of the most narcissistic asshole is kind of limiting to God, who's supposedly eternal.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Doa Deer says another organization I follow couldn't get Facebook Live to work this morning, and it's down again.
Sounds like a system issue.
Sounds
Facebook
like
is having
a
problems.
issue.
Our friends at Meta are having technical problems.
Oh, sucks for them. Viking says, I personally love this idea of God not being an angry old man in the sky, yet I've been struggling with this because of Psalm 23. I think that's the right psalm where there's talk of wrath. And there's a lot of talk of wrath, and there's a lot of psalms that like there's a lot of people in the Bible like crying out to God and like feeling wronged and saying what their theology is too. Like there's talk of like all sorts of stuff in the Bible. I mean, I think we have to go outside the Bible to figure out what God is like, to be honest with you. That's what I personally think. Like, I don't think you're going to find all the answers in the Bible.
I don't think it's sorry.
Well, no, but even if it's not, I mean, even if, Jesus is in the Bible, but I still think like, I don't know. Like, again, the Bible can say anything you want it to say. So,
yeah,
there's a lot of talk of genocide in the Bible too, and there's never a condemnation of slavery in the Bible, and there's a lot of patriarchy, and there can be a reading of homophobia in the Bible, and so it's just
So lots of things are biblical, but not everything is Christ-like, and then they have to draw that distinction, which early Christians did do, and again, I talk about that in Jesus Unbound. That the way to approach the Bible, it all boils down to how you approach the Bible, right? So if you take a flat Bible perspective, then you're constantly going to be confused. Well, the Bible's over here says this, and the Bible over here says that. Oh, there's wrath over here, and there's wrath over there, and there's, pro-slavery here and pro patriarchy there, and women are, second class because the Bible says it here and there. Yeah, the Bible says all kinds of things, right? And if
Mhm.
you take a flat Bible approach, then you're constantly going to be pulled back and forth, right, in this sort of schizophrenic way of like, what's the right way, what's the wrong way? Because the Bible says this and it says that, different places. So a flat Bible approach creates all kinds of problems. If you try to read the scripture through the lens of love or through the lens of Christ, then what happens is that when you come across those verses, you say, yeah, I get that that's what David felt at the moment, that he said, blessed are those who dash your infants against the rocks. But yes, that's in the Bible. And yes, David said that, but that's not Christ-like. That's not love, right? And so we can read something and say, yeah, that was a human being having a human reaction, that we should not attribute it to God just because it's in the Bible. Because again, God didn't
Yeah.
write the Bible. People wrote the Bible. And so again, yeah, it means relearning a way to read the Bible through a different lens. We've talked about this in Heretic Happy Hour before, that we're all reading the scriptures through a lens, believe it or not. We are. No one is reading it without a lens, right? We're all reading it through a certain lens. And so you just have to pick a lens that makes sense. And if you pick a lens that's the lens of inerrant and infallible, then you're going to end up having to incorporate and integrate this wrath language and this patriarchy into your worldview because, well, it's inerrant and infallible. Versus if you take the view of like reading it through the lens of Christ, you could read something and say, well, Jesus wouldn't say that. Jesus wouldn't be like, blessed are those who dash babies' heads against the rocks. Like, dear God, that's horrific. No, I have freedom to reject those kinds of ideas if I read them in the Bible.
Yeah, and we know based on experience too, like we know if our theology and our worldview brings healing and brings comfort to it's like art. It should comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable.
That's right.
And going back to like J.D. Vance and his reading of Gerard or Tolkien, like how's your exploitative and capitalistic reading of Tolkien doing for the climate or doing for people? Or how's that gap between the haves and the have-nots going? And what do you think Tolkien's books would teach us about that kind of shit?
Yeah.
What can that teach us? I mean, like, how are we doing with keeping people safe from the effects of climate change with fires and hurricanes and tornadoes and floods? And we're not doing well.
No,
So
we're not.
what is your worldview leading to? Is it leading to peace and love and hope and happiness, or is it leading to like more and more suffering and more, I mean, this guy sees Pastor Buddy, Reverend Buddy's thing as like an attack on Christianity
and calling it demonic and evil.
Like, get the
Like we
fuck
talked
out of
about
here.
that on
Like,
God Squad on Thursday,
you're
right?
so full of shit. You are so full of shit. I don't even know how to talk to someone like that.
Yeah. It's so twisted. Like, how do you get that twisted up that you can't see that? Like, to me,
He probably said Kendrick's halftime show is the worst of all time too.
Right.
Just a
because
boring
you didn't
ass,
understand it.
put raisins in your potato salad fucking person.
Yeah, exactly. Bill has a good comment here. Finstermaker. Favorite naked pastor cartoon was the one in which Jesus scolds folks for using the Bible to determine who to love instead of using love to determine how to read the Bible. Yeah. That's right. That's a good one. We love David Hayward.
They do that whole thing. Like, was it JD Vance who was he was saying how there's like a Christian mandate to like love your family and then love your people on your street and then love your community and then love your country, and then if you get through all that, then you can love the immigrant and love the foreigner or whatever. It's like,
yeah, you know what? Here's what really bothered me when he said that, because there's a video on YouTube. If you look for it, you could probably find it. It's Keith Giles, Concentric Circles of Love. And there's a video of me with a graphic and everything. And I'm saying pretty much exactly what he's saying, right? But the difference is, so I do talk about that. I say, yes, we have to first, love ourselves, then we love our family, then we love our church family, then we love our community. So in other words, it's this this concentric circles of love that starts in and moves out, right? The difference is it seems what JD Vance was using that illustration to say was that by the time you get to the poor and the orphan and the widow and the people on that outer ring, you're out of love. You don't have, you've used it all up. You don't have any, and they're just going to get the scraps and the, whereas what I was saying was, no, it's cohesive and it's not sequential. Okay. It's not, oh, I can't love my coworkers, for example, because I'm still working on trying to love my family really well. Like, no, you're supposed
And
to
also
do
I can
all of
do
it
the
at
opposite
once.
of love too.
Yeah. It's not so you can, it's not like, well, I can't do this because I haven't done that. It's like sequentially. It's like, no, you do all of it at the same time. You're expected to love everyone all the time. It's that again, what I was trying to say was that, well, the way I was using it was, the way I kind of came across that idea was that when I was on staff at a Vineyard Church, right, that we helped to plant in Southern California, and Wendy and I were in charge of the compassion ministry, which was a ministry where we would go out and we would pass out food and bread, and we would do things for kids in the motel, and we were doing all this stuff outwardly focused, right? And somebody pointed out to me, like, hey, Keith, by the way, there are people in our own church, like single moms, who can't pay their bills and can't buy groceries. And then I was like, oh shit. Like, okay, yeah, you're right. We shouldn't be looking at taking care of people out there if we're not looking at people in here. So it was just like a corrective for me to be like, okay, we're going to make sure we're going to take care of our people and we're going to do that. It wasn't one or the other. It wasn't either or, it was both. And so just recognizing that.
I got no problem with like the reality of like, yeah, you can't love others until you love yourself. You can't put the oxygen mask on your kid if you're passed out. I get all that. I get you love your family in a practical sense. You love your family, you love your community. Those are the people you're around most of the time.
Yeah.
But it cannot contradict the love of the immigrant and the love. It cannot be
right. It's not used as an excuse. Yeah.
Right. Oh, I'm loving my family right now, so get the fuck out of my country. What are you talking about? Like you're doing it wrong, man. You're reading Tolkien wrong. You're reading the Bible wrong. I wish you could just get alone with people like that on an island for like a month.
Yes. Yeah.
Just get down to it. Like, what's this really about, dude? Because people like that are just covering for someone. They know what they're doing. They have to know deep in their soul that what they're doing is so fucking wrong and so like antichrist to use biblical, like it's anti everything that we read about in the fucking Bible. I don't get it.
Yeah. And then again, here's the problem with that idea of this concentric circles idea. It sounds really good, but the truth is it's not what Jesus says. Jesus says, love your neighbor as yourself. He just says, like, do both. You love yourself, so love your neighbor. The things you would do for yourself, do it for your neighbor. That's it. End of story. It's not like, well, first you have to do this and then you have to do that. And then no, it's just love your neighbor because that's the right thing to do, because that's what God does, actually. Jesus ties it to, because God loves even God's enemies, you should do the same. Right? So
the Viking says, I didn't want to go to church today. I've been struggling with faith. I prayed today, then my phone buzzed in my pocket. Your vid popped up, and I got to ask the question I've been struggling with.
Boom! There you go.
It's the Lord working in mysterious ways.
The Holy Spirit moving in a mysterious way. I'm so glad. You know, that makes me really happy to know that you were about to go to church, and then God reached into your pocket, into your phone, and said, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
And we're not even gonna make you tithe out. You could leave, and you don't even have to. We're not even gonna make you put a plate in front of you.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, if you want to give us money, you can. But
that's right. It's not a requirement. We are.
But 10% would be nice. I mean, I don't know what you make, but 10% would be good. Let's go.
We are cranking out content, man. It's amazing to me. We went from doing this twice a month. And now we're cranking out stuff like between Heretic Happy Hour and God Squad this week, right? We did a Tuesday episode that we do every Tuesday. Then I did God Squad on Wednesday on Fugelsang. Then we did God Squad live streaming on Facebook, and you were there. And then we did the Friday show, and now we're doing this show. Like, that's all 1 week, man. That's insane. It's crazy.
I know. I know.
Free of charge.
I edited them all.
You did.
I was there.
You were there. That's right.
I was there. I was there.
And you know, just
And
doing
we'll be
it for
there
love.
next week for the God Squad too.
That's right. Yeah, I'll be back. I'm back again covering for December on next Thursday. On the God Squad. So yeah. And I might do that. I think that's what I've decided I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna I may just come back and do the God Squad now and again. You know, I'll just sort of like be a surprise guest.
You're just too big to just
No, I'm
you're
just
so
too
big
busy.
you just pop in whenever you want.
I'm too busy. Gosh, man, doing it because for a year, really, I did the God Squad for a year. Where like every Wednesday and although we didn't start the Thursday show till maybe 5 or 6 months ago. But on Football Saying Show, we were been doing it every Wednesday for a year. And yeah, after a while, it's just like doing that twice a week and doing Heretic Happy Hour and trying to do Second Cup and running choir and all the other stuff and writing my books. Like, no, it's too much. I just had to say,
I haven't written anything in a while. Like,
yeah, even a
it's been
blog.
6 weeks for a blog.
Oh yeah, you were taking a break, right? Didn't you?
Yeah, I was taking a break from blogging for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Although it's making me want to blog about this JD Vance thing and Tolkien and Gerard.
Yeah, me too. Well, for me, it's not Tolkien. It's JD Vance and Peter Thiel and Gerard. But yeah,
that one makes me mad too, because it's like all Donald Trump does is scapegoat others.
That's right.
That's all he fucking does.
And see, how can you be aware of Gerard and not see that? Not see like that's all Trump does is scapegoat everybody he doesn't like. He does it all the time.
And JD Vance did it of Donald Trump too. He called him America's Hitler. Isn't that scapegoating too? I could play the game. We could all play the fucking mimetic theory game.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, the Republicans did it to Trump. If we just get rid of Donald Trump in the primaries in 2015, they said if we just get rid of Donald Trump, the party will be stronger and better and everything.
Oh yeah.
That is scapegoating from a mimetic theory standpoint, because it's not just about Trump. But there's so many of us who are like, this ain't about Trump. This is about systems, and this is about watch the Kendrick halftime show. Fuck.
Yeah.
But you can't then just say, oh well, they just want to. The left just wants to scapegoat Trump, and no. There's so many of us who are like, it's about we're gonna have shit to critique after Trump goes away. This ain't about Trump.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then there's also a thing, right, in in mimetic theory, right? Doesn't Rene Girard talk about like be careful who your enemies are because they will define you, right? In other words, you are, because it's mimetic, right? So you end up, you can't help yourself, right? You have an enemy, but the things you hate about the enemy, you end up kind of doing yourself. And in a way, that's kind of what happens, like you said. So JD Vance goes from saying that Trump is the Antichrist to being like, I'm proud to be a nominee for vice president with Donald Trump. Like, and now he's an apologist for Donald Trump.
Yeah, and we run the risk of focusing always on Donald Trump and people like this and Elon Musk and turning into them.
Right. That's right.
And we don't want to do that. And I don't want to do that. You have to be mimetically creative. You could speak truth to power and call bullshit, but also always check yourself and always saying like, am I defined by what I'm against, or am I defined what I'm doing in life and the help I'm doing and the what I'm doing for my community, what I'm doing for my family, what I'm doing for the immigrants, and what I'm doing for the oppressed. Like, you have to find a balance. And this is what they get. I don't know, man. They get like so reductive. Like everything is. I don't see JD Vance ever talking to someone like me about any of this.
Yeah. But it would be fascinating.
It would be fascinating, man. Just please interpret Saruman and the Fangorn Forest, and please interpret Trump through mimetic theory, because certainly if he studies Girard, Trump is subject to mimetic theory and the critiques of mimetic theory too.
Yes.
There's nothing in mimetic theory that says, oh, but this doesn't apply to the ring you kiss.
Right. Exactly.
and cults like the Trump and MAGA cult don't seem willing to critique their own. Mimetic theory always critiques its own. Like, I'm always critiquing myself through like, am I gossiping? Am I scapegoating? Am I othering someone? It's always in the back of my mind. Like, I can't help it.
Yeah.
But that's not allowed within cultish mindsets because you don't critique the king, you don't critique the ruler, the emperor.
Yeah, and you don't critique yourself that way you're talking about and saying like, "Hey, wait a
Yeah.
minute, am I guilty of the same thing that I'm accusing others of?" Like again, this is the genius of uh I think this is the purpose of the Pharisee characters in the Gospels. I know that a lot of times it's been used to demonize Jewish people, but I think spiritually the benefit of the Pharisee characters in the Gospels is meant to be a mirror to us, to yourself, right? Because it's like it doesn't make any sense to look at Pharisees and in the Gospels, what they're doing is saying, "Oh, I don't like to be. I don't thank you, God. I'm not like that person. Oh, that person's horrible. I'm so glad I'm not like that person." And then for you to look at Pharisees and say, "Wow, I'm so glad I'm not like those Pharisees." Like, no, dude. The point is you are. The point is for you to look and see, am I? And there's a good chance that sometimes you would go, "Oh, wait a minute, I'm doing the same thing." But you know, like, so I have this quote where I talk about like, if you have never seen the Pharisee in the mirror, you've never seen a Pharisee. Like, because that's what it's meant to be. It's supposed to be you, and it's meant to be a cautionary tale of like, don't do that. Don't other people. That's what they're doing. That's to me
And
the simplest
and
way.
that's and especially true if you as a person, whether your race, whether your gender, sex, orientation, all that, if you're in a position of power, because that's
That's
primarily
right.
who it's about. Like it's the
Yes.
like
Yeah.
everyone should look in the mirror. Everyone should have our Michael Jackson moment, the man in the mirror.
Yeah. There you go. And
Um,
I'm looking at
but
you.
especially true when you look at someone like Vice President JD Vance, the second, like one heartbeat from a 78-year-old man away
From
from
the
the most
presidency.
powerful president. I mean, this okay. The real president is probably Elon, but
Elon Musk. Yeah.
okay, on paper at least,
Yeah.
the second most powerful man in the like you are especially the one being critiqued in this power dynamic of the
Yeah.
Bible, which is written by the brown folks from below.
Yeah.
Like it's the story of the othered, the
Yeah.
ostracized,
Yeah.
the estranged, the people in a foreign land,
Yeah.
the immigrant, that
Yeah.
Jesus
The
was a
refugee.
refugee,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
shit. Like
Yeah.
you are especially it's an especial warning against people in power and people in
Mm,
privilege.
mhm. Yeah. That's also the reason why, right? Like, have you ever like posted something on Facebook or social media about how Jesus was an immigrant or Jesus was a refugee? And you get
Mhm.
evangelical Christians pushing back and going, "That's a lie. No, he wasn't." It's like, yeah, because they don't see it. They're oblivious to it. Like you have to say, well, didn't Jesus flee into Egypt, right? Jesus and Joseph and Mary took Jesus and fled into Egypt, running from a fascist dictator that wanted to kill their child. And weren't they then refugees in Egypt? Yes. So
Mm,
Jesus was a
and not
refugee.
and not to mention, even if that didn't happen, he still lived in occupied land.
That's right.
It w it was occupied Palestine, Israel, that area,
That's right.
occupied by who?
By the Romans.
Rome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
Jesus was in a situation where evangelicals would like, if Jesus walked into America, they would ask for his papers.
Yeah. Of
Like,
course they
Jesus
would.
himself,
They would deport him.
he could have holes in his hand. I wish there was a bunch of seasons of that Messiah show
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
I wanna keep seeing how people would react to this dude.
Yeah, that show is so good. Oh my god, that show is so great.
It was
I
pretty good.
missed that show so much. It was so great. Yeah, and you know, have you seen like there was a man on the street thing? It wasn't Jordan Klepper, it was some other guy. He was talking to like evangelical Christians that were protesting, the immigration stuff on the
I think
border.
it was, Masterson. Is it Walter Masterson? I think it was him. I
Yeah, and
think I've
he
seen it.
asked them, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. He asked them
Yeah.
like, "Hey, if Jesus tried to cross the border, would he be welcome in
Mhm.
America?" And they said, "Well, if he did it legal, if he had the right
Did it
papers, or if he did it
legally.
legally."
That's wild, dude.
Yeah. And he was like, "Okay, everybody, you heard this. You heard it what they said.
You heard it here first.
Jesus wouldn't be welcome unless he had the right papers." Yeah.
What's your name? Mary? Joseph? Jesus? You got any papers, you three?
Get your papers. Sorry, no.
Trump would send his ass to Guantanamo. And see, this
Yeah,
is
put him on a
the
plane and send
type
him to
of shit
Guantanamo.
where like, oh, you want to talk about mimetic theory, man? Like, we can all look in the mirror, but again, like, you have the power to send people to Guantanamo Bay.
That's right.
That is literally expelling them from the community. Like, every book
Yes.
on Girard has talked
Casting
about
them
that.
out.
Like,
Yes.
that is the scapegoating mechanism in action. If we get rid of the immigrants, America will be made great again. If we get rid of the brown people, America will be made great again.
Yeah.
Like, that is, you could write a whole ass book on what this administration is doing and about to do, and do it through the mimetic theory lens, and
Yeah.
he still wouldn't see it.
No.
He doesn't
No.
want to see it.
No, and then those people. This is the scary thing about it being Guantanamo. Like, the only reason to send 30,000 so far, right? 30,000 people to Guantanamo into a concentration camp is like because it's in Cuba. So that means, reporters can't go there and tell us the conditions and let us know the conditions. So it's oblivious, right? We can't see it. We're unaware of it. We can't interview those prisoners to see how they're being treated. So it's to allow abuses to happen, right? These people, this is just another form of crucifixion, right? These people are going to be tortured. These people are going to be mistreated and exploited. And
Well, it's almost
yeah.
like it's like that, but it's almost reverse. Like, crucifixion was there to like proclaim how tough they were. Put them on
Yeah.
a hill when people walk into Rome.
Show everybody.
Walk into our
And
Roman
this was
occupied
instead like,
city.
we're not going to show you. Yeah.
We're just going to not show you. We're going to hide it. We're going to expel the surrogate victim, because really the immigrant folks and refugees and things like, they're just a surrogate victim for people's own insecurities.
Yeah.
For the shit that they're not like happy within their life. And if we just get rid of them, we'll all be made feeling better. The white folks will be wealthy again, will be made great again. And it's a tale as old as time. You pit poor white folks against black and brown folks, and the rich elites get to sit back and watch us all fucking cannibalize each other.
That's right. That's
and
exactly
blame one another in the process.
Yeah, exactly.
But you want to talk about mimetic theory, and you want to talk about fucking the ring of power. Let's talk about the ring of power, dude. You're kissing it.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're holding it right now. The people holding the ring of power are the ones scapegoating people. Like, dude, you're on the wrong side of this whole thing.
If you can't, I don't know how you don't see that. I guess he doesn't see it because, like, JD Vance sees himself as like a poor boy from Appalachia.
That's still that's his identity in his mind. Well, I mean, that's also part of mimetic theory, right? That there's the part of the mechanism we're oblivious to, right? It's invisible to us. And the irony is that these people that think they understand it are still oblivious to it.
Well, it just proves that, like, that's how powerful it is. Like, we can be book smart about all this shit, and then just it's so powerful that it controls us without us seeing it. Even when we know the facts, we know the truth.
That's right. Even when you know it. That is the truth, though. That is the thing. Even when you know it, even when you understand it, you still find yourself getting wrapped up in it. Cannot help but talk about trans people. Cannot help but scapegoat them. Cannot help but say racist shit. Cannot help but have an opinion on Kendrick at the halftime show and hate black people. And they had the same opinion when Rihanna played, and they had the same opinion when Beyonce won a Grammy. Yep, that's right. Yeah.
They hated BLM. They hate woke. They
hate DEI. Why are you against diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Just say black. Just say
you don't like black people getting jobs and opportunities.
Just say it. That's right. Like, and they want to talk about scapegoating.
Yes.
It's wild.
But then what's the irony, right? Then they make it see that's what they would push back against. They'd say, well, this is the reason why DEI is bad, because it's scapegoating white people, right? White people are being scapegoated. And so we're trying to,
in Girardian terms, explain to me how. Because white people are still in power.
I know.
Like, you don't get to sit here and say the scapegoating mechanism goes from the bottom to the top and say that the poor people, the people without money, the people without power are really the ones scapegoating the people who have all the power and
Have all the power. Yes.
Come
It's
on.
crazy. I know, it's crazy.
They got this victim
It's crazy.
mentality, and it's derived from, like, they were told Christians would be persecuted for their faith. And when they weren't, they had to write themselves into that victim story.
That's right. Yeah. To call, it is so stupid. Right. We've talked about this last couple of weeks. We've recorded some podcasts, which will be coming out soon, about like this anti-DEI stuff and this, anti-Christian task force that Trump's putting together. It's like this victim mentality, man. It's so stupid. It's so ridiculous. White Christians control the government, the majority of all the corporations, the billionaire corporations. Most of the billionaires are all white guys. Like, white people have all the power. Their religion is the dominant religion. Their religion guides the laws of the land. Like, at every level, they are so powerful and so dominant, and yet at the same time have to create this narrative that they're the ones being victimized. They're the ones being attacked. It's unreal. It's so dumb.
And Bill's got a great comment. Because our God is a cruel God, we should be the same, I guess. That's it. That's my Mimetic theory also. Like,
that is exactly what it is.
Like, JD Vance's God hates gay people, and he's therefore
I have to hate them too. And that's the holy, righteous thing to do.
And that victim mentality, it's like, it's not just a Christian thing either. Like, it's just, I don't know. We can't help but like, it's like I saw Drake wearing at a concert or something. He was wearing like a shirt with like bullet holes in it, and smoke was coming out. And it's like, oh, you're such a bait. Like, oh, you took shots from Kendrick. Like, you just have to be that victim. You have to get people to feel sorry for you. And it's like, we're going to be able to say Merry Christmas again. It's like, I have had every street, every house on my street has Christmas lights every year. Like,
and they all put up signs that say Merry Christmas.
They all put up signs that say Merry Christmas. Like, no one has not, like, you're supposed to embrace the servant persecuted mindset if you're a Christian, right? Like, I thought, even if it were true that you're just, you're just such a victim, that's supposed to be your plight in life as a Christian.
Right.
So quit whining about it. Why are you whining about it? I thought you were taking this on because your treasures are in heaven, not on earth. So you just want to say all the right things, but then you act like a baby when it comes to, like, you think you're getting persecuted by what?
Yeah. No. Well, it just exposes all the inconsistencies in evangelical Christianity because, like, because they say those things and they'll quote those verses, but then subconsciously they know, like, but I'm not giving up anything. I'm not being persecuted. That's not happening.
They know for a fact they aren't.
Yeah.
Like, I've talked to people like in my own family. What is different now than 8 years ago, 10 years ago for you?
Yeah.
Has someone taken your money? Has someone taken your paycheck? Has someone removed something from your house? Has someone taken your ability to drive, to move, to go across state lines, to seek health care, to do anything? No one's taken anything from, no trans person, no gay person, no black person has done anything to you that personally affects you, and you go on and on and on and on about it, but it's never affected you.
No.
How do you not notice that?
Yeah. Because they have convinced you that this is the enemy, and if you vote for me, and I'll solve the problem. And that's, again, it's classic scapegoat.
Just make another.
Yep.
But they never showed up on my door and like proselytized. They never gave me a thing that said if I'm not trans, I'm going to go to hell. They never give me a thing that I need to have gay sex or I'm going to burn forever.
That's right.
No one's ever rang my doorbell, got my dogs barking, telling me that.
Right. No, exactly right.
Ever.
Yeah. But people have done that. I've had Christians knock on my door. I've had Christians put witnessing tracts under my my windshield wipers.
And they do it without fear of getting, they're not going to get.
No.
Imagine if a trans person did this, though. Imagine if a trans person started going around house to house throughout your whole neighborhood, everywhere.
Yeah.
In the Bible Belt, doesn't matter. Here in Northern California. And they're putting tracts on there and saying, if you do not become trans, you will go to hell forever. But you have an option to escape the flames to become trans. This sounds like a possible anonymous ad. I'm saying this because I love you, and the God of trans loves you. But if you don't become trans, you don't give your heart to the trans God, you are going to go away forever and ever and ever. Like, that person would be in danger of violence against them in America. But Christians do it all the time. If you do not
Yeah.
give your heart to our God, to this and that, you're going to go to hell forever. So
Yeah.
that's like a veiled threat on my porch, like handing me shit.
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
someone give me a tract the other day.
Really?
Yeah. And it
It's
was
been a
like this
long
whole
time
thing,
for me.
like, I know you've been wondering like about heaven and hell, where you go, and we just want to let you know there's a
But were you
there's
wondering?
a way out. No,
Had you been wondering?
I have not
No,
wondered in a while.
I've not wondered about
I have
that
not thought
in a
about that
very
in
long time.
goddamn near a decade. I swear to God.
We know you've been
But
wondering about
and
this.
he was like, "Oh, I know you're gonna like this." And I looked at it, I was like, "Oh man, you and I have not met, sir." It was funny. But
So it
no,
was a
that
total stranger. Total stranger.
total stranger came up, gave me one of those track cards. It was the whole Isaiah
it
was
like a
included,
chick?
something about I'm a wretched worm, all the
Oh,
the
yeah,
whole
yeah,
thing.
of course. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You're a wretch, you're a worm. Yeah.
it was just a business card though, business card worth a track. Like
Oh, okay.
yeah, and the person I was with was like, "Has that ever worked for them?" Like I just like
Yeah.
fall on my knees, fall prostrate.
Oh, Lord. So you should have done just like you should have read it and started crying. Oh God, yes, thank you.
Thank you for giving me this card. I was wondering where I was going to go, and as this card showed
I
up,
really was. I was just now saying, gosh, I wish I knew where I was going to go if I were to die tonight. Would I be in heaven tomorrow?
would I be in heaven? Doa Deer says, "Sounds like a movement. Let's start passing out literature supporting LGBTQIA plus issues."
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But just be careful. Like people will fucking.
Yeah.
Be
I was
careful,
gonna
man.
make who knows, maybe one of these days I'll still do it. Because Dylan, my oldest, is an artist and
Mhm.
he loves those chick tracks, right? They're so over the
Yeah,
top and hilarious and ridiculous. He thinks they're
yeah.
hilarious. And so we talk about them a lot, like, he'll find one online and be like, oh, this is so stupid. And so we had this idea, like we should make like an anti-chick track, right? And basically, but it would start off being that kind of stupid, over the top, you're a wretch, you're a worm, you're gonna burn in hell kind of thing. And you would turn the page and it would be like, this is all bullshit. And and then it would suddenly switch and be like, about love and
Mhm.
universalism and all that kind of stuff. I still want to do that one of these days. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Just to like
Someday.
leave these things around and have people pick them up.
Bill says, "Have you popped onto any MAGA evangelical friends feed to see how excited they are? Trump is quote ending Christian persecution in the U.S." No, because I do not associate with MAGA evangelical people, and I think
No.
they are long gone off of my feed. But I have seen it on TikTok and things like that. Yeah, I mean, they see themselves as persecuted. They're soft snowflakes. Let's just be real. They're snowflakes. They can't handle actual shit. Like
Yeah.
they need a safe space. They've been the snowflakes all along. Every accusation is an admission.
Yeah.
And
Confession.
Memetic Theory has a
Yeah.
lot to say about that too.
Yeah.
Make it in cartoon form.
That
Yeah,
was the
there you
plan.
go.
Yes. So chick tracks are cartoons. So we were going to make these cartoons.
And
Yeah,
I will
some of them
say
are just
before we get going, we gotta do some fake ads coming down. I already made one, so if you're ready for the fake ads, they're coming back
they're coming back, everybody.
Friday bonus show.
This
So
Friday we'll do it, and I'll do one as well. So you've got one this Friday.
I
I'll
got
come
one
up
in the
with one for
chamber,
next Friday.
locked and loaded.
All right, I'm gonna come up with one for next Friday. Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna have to bring it back.
Yeah, so look out for Friday's bonus show. Of course, in between that is Tuesday's regular show, which is good as always. Thank you for popping through on the live stream.
Thank you, everybody.
Great questions. Bill, Viking, Doa Deer, Judy, everyone else. Great questions.
Yeah,
I
thank
hope
you.
this was very churchful. I hope
I
this
hope it
was great in
Katie.
lieu of
Yeah, thank
church.
you.
Katie
Very.
McCrite.
Make it right. Yeah, and Elaine.
McWright.
Yeah, everybody. Donna, thank you, everybody.
Everybody.
Thanks. Sorry we lost the Facebook feed. Hopefully we'll get that fixed next week. Well, again, not our fault.
It doesn't sound like it's our fault. So apparently, I mean, let's scapegoat. What's his name? Magazuck.
Magazucker. Yeah.
Not Magazucker. It's the Magazuck of the week.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, but we'll see you around. Make
Yeah,
sure
guys.
if you haven't rated and reviewed this show, please do so. If you listen on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get the podcasts, go give us a rating and a review, and tell one friend. Tell
Please.
one friend about this show.
Each one reach one, please.
That's the thing. Do it.
Spread the love.
Don't just say you're going to do it. Fucking do
Yeah,
it. Or you'll be the
especially-
next one to be scapegoated by Keith and me.
That's right. And especially since we're bringing back, you asked, we listened. We're bringing back the ads.
I got a lot. I got multiple texts and voicemails popping
Really?
through. Bring back the ads. Bring back the ads. Yeah.
Okay, good. Awesome.
So if we're gonna do that, maybe you should also support us on Patreon. I'm just saying,
Help us out.
patreon.com/choircast.
We're going the extra mile for you guys.
The extra mile for you heathens and heretics, mystics and misfits.
Yeah.
But thank you for listening. We'll see you soon.
Yep. Love you guys.